My smile has actually never been medically necessary to be fixed. I did have that one crooked tooth, and I also wanted my smile to appear wider. I wanted that when I smiled, I can see more of the teeth in the back, and it was just a more pleasing smile in my opinion. But I never had a dentist that was really willing to go through the trouble of that. And when I came to Dr. Osseiran's office, I explained to him my vision of what my smile would be, and he really respected that and took that to another level, which is another reason why I respect Dr. Osseiran so much, because he really takes his craft of a medicine and turns it into an art. And it's a really beautiful art form, the way he was able to control every movement of every tooth that I had and really create the smile that I dreamed of. And the experience was incredible. Everything was a very controlled process. I can see between every appointment my progress. And we did scans, of course, to keep up with my progress as well. And when I finally had them taken off, I was just in love with the results. It was beautiful, and they have maintained, even though I'm not the greatest about wearing my retainer, but it has maintained beautiful throughout this whole time. Me and Dr. Osseiran have a really good relationship. I mean, with ortho, you have to come in every 4 to 6 weeks, so I was seeing him quite frequently, and he's just a really fun, charismatic person to be around. I would recommend Dr. Osseiran to other people because he's a highly specialized, trained professional in his field. He has taken the years, the time, the education, and the work to really be one of the best people in the country at what he does.
I had an incredible issue with a root canal gone wrong, and my friend who specializes in root canals fixed it, but then she said, "I'm not going to touch a crown, you really need to go to this guy." And I had a dentist, but she said, "No, this guy is state of the art. This is the guy that you want because you've had a real problem here and you don't want to lose a tooth." So I absolutely took my friend's advice to heart, and I called and I met, Dr. Osseiran, and it was like, oh wow, this guy is such a cut above anybody I've ever gone to. And we stuck with him, and then my husband started going to him. I said, you've got to meet this guy. He's the real deal. It was a really touch and go thing because you don't want to lose one of your molars, right? Olga Fonseca, who did the original work to clear up the real problem with the root canal, did a great job, and then Dr. Osseiran came in behind her and made it presentable. You couldn't leave her work as is, right? You had to put a crown on it. So the result of what he did and what she did, working as a team, and they communicated, which was really important because there were two separate procedures that had to work together in order to save the tooth. So they communicated really well. Each knew what the other was dealing with, and the result was that 10 years later, I'm fine. What I really loved about him is that he's a perfectionist. I mean, he's a crazy perfectionist, and he's a student of his craft. So when you put those qualities together and you're giving healthcare, dentistry to a patient, you can imagine what a difference that is. I would recommend him to people who care about and really think about the story that your teeth tell.
The reason I came here at one point is that I went to somebody else and they tried to fix my molar and they put a crown and I had pain and it would not stay there, right? So when I consulted with Dr. Osseiran, he looked at it and without even making an appointment, he just took me in, did his thing, and it's been 5 years and it's still there. The best thing is when you don't feel, you're not aware what's going on, and that was another thing. Before, I wasn't able to chew on that side. There was always a discomfort. I was taking aspirins, and after Dr. Osseiran did his thing, I completely forgot I even had an issue. One of the things that you can tell right away is the care for the patient. There is a stigma that people ask for money, insurance, and of course it's important because somebody has to pay. But that became a second concern, not the first. The first concern was to make me feel better and take care of my issues. I was so impressed that now my wife, my children, they're all coming here with the same excitement and results.
I was 18. I was an international student at American University, and I needed a root canal. It was really bad that I needed help immediately. Anyway, we started, and he did a root canal for me, and it was so good that he put a temporary crown, that the crown lasted for so many years that I didn't need to do the second stage of the root canal. Right then and there, I was 18, and we, going to him on a few times a week. I just fell in love with one thing he had in his office, a picture of a violin, and it was talking about how dentistry is an art, like the violin, and that still so many years later resonates with me, that this is what he does, is really, he's an artist, just happened to be a scientist as well. So I started, coming from the Middle East, I needed a lot of dental work. He did beautiful job. The most important thing that you probably won't notice is I have a tooth that I chipped front tooth that I chipped when I was young, falling down the stairs, and that really caused me so much agony all my life. And then you can't tell, because I have a beautiful smile, thanks to Dr. Osseiran. He fixed that and he bonded it. It's not implant, it's just a bonding that he did. Fascinating work that people compliment. Well, I married someone who has the same chip, and Dr. Osseiran also fixed it. And then we started coming, the entire family, to him, because again, that quality of work that you don't see anywhere else. Now, here's an interesting story. I brought my two kids thinking that the youngest one needed braces, not thinking anything of my oldest son. Well, he looked at my oldest son's teeth and he said, he's in emergency. We need to fix his teeth. I said, what's wrong with them? Well, he had a little gap here. That's what I thought. He said, no, the teeth are not positioned right, and we need to do braces right away. And sure enough, we did it. And I had been taking my kids to the dentist for years in Texas. No one could tell. His first visit, his first look at my son, he said, braces right away. And sure enough, we did it, and it was perfect. And now both my kids have amazing teeth, thanks to Dr. Osseiran.
I was having a real pain in my jaw, my neck, and it was coming down my shoulder. The other thing is, in the mirror, I could visibly see my jaw shifting forward. And first I thought, well, maybe it's just age, and I'm aging faster because I work in Washington, D.C., so time moves faster. But upon my first visit with Dr. Osseiran, I explained the symptoms to him, and what he did was he listened to me as a patient, which is a remarkable thing. I should say, shouldn't be a remarkable thing, but doctors who really listen to the patient attentively, and I explained what was going on, and visibly he could see the shift in my jaw, and he could hear the clicking. But he's also truly a professional and a man of science, so we did this amazing 3D imagery of my jaw. Exciting from the academic side of me, because I also have a PhD in international studies, but it was the rigor and the questioning, the Socratic method, if you would say, in this case. And you could see the visible movement of my jaw on there, and that I was out of total alignment. He said, I know where the pressure is coming from. And at that point, he said, I'm going to do some other tests as well, but this was by far so obvious what was taking place. So we took the opportunity. He measured, my chewing, my movement, and literally he could even hear the sound of the cracking of my jaw. And so at that point, he laid out what my options were, and he made me a partner in it. And so that my decision-making process was involved in what I was willing to undergo or not undergo. He put in these amazing self-adjusting braces. He said, oh no, we're not going to have to go in and tweak because all of my friends had told me, oh, we're going to have to adjust these things and it's going to be painful. And I'm going like, okay, so I was prepping myself for the process. But literally, we would come back every month just to check on the progress. And this meant a changing of the wires, maybe not every month, but just to make sure I was progressing. But I could literally feel the braces move. And they were truly self-adjusting. I'm very, very pleased with the results because it put my mouth in alignment. There's no clicking. We didn't try to change how I look, but we gave me the support, the ability to eat and function and speak with clarity. Quality of life is what he's given me, truly. So I'm very, very satisfied.
I had a crown on my tooth and it broke. He rebuilt it and put the crown on it. Even he covered the space where missing another tooth. You feel like you have 2 teeth instead of 1 and you can eat, you don't have any problem. It's like, it's mission impossible, I think. And our country, tell you the truth, we do harsh, we like nuts. We eat nuts a lot. So I'm eating on it. I don't feel nothing. I don't feel it's there. I wouldn't go anywhere else.